We are going to start in a few seconds. Just give me a moment here. All right, so we're going to be starting. Just want to share a link for those that may want to join us. And because it is streaming on YouTube, I have to remember that I'm on YouTube right now. So I'm going to go get my phone so I can check the comment page. All right. Let me know if you're here. You're welcome to say hi. All right. So gave me time to do what I have to do. I'm going to be leaving this picture up for a little bit. And I want to say I'm going to wait maybe a minute or so just to see if anybody else is going to join us. One of the things, as I wait, one of the things that I've been feeling into, and I will be talking obviously a lot about resistance, but there's a lot of things happening. That's going to be like my tap. That should be my tap. So many things are happening, so many shifts and so many changes are happening right now. A lot of us, depending on where we are getting that, like that next level push. And I say that because part of me, when we talk about resistance, I'm just going to start talking about this because this is really, really important. And right now, as I was creating this little image, the first thing that came through was, am I unconsciously resisting? Okay. This is a yes for every single one of us. We have been unconsciously resisting our entire lives at some level without really being aware of it. Okay. So instead of it being a full yes and a full no, it's always going to be both. And I know I talked about this. I talk about allowing yourself to be on both sides because you're always going to be. Right? There's always going to be this aspect of yourself that wants to do this, and there's always going to be that opposite side of you that says no. You're always going to be in this kind of yes and no. Now, the key that I want to open you guys up to is this balanced space, this balanced state where you can literally be on, you're able to see and you're able to feel both sides in the way that you need to feel both sides, in the way that you need to open up to all of these different aspects that are resisting and they're not resisting, so that you can allow a continuous release of that resistance. As I wait just to feel just a little bit more, I want to bring you into the space of surrender. If you're able to do this with me, perfect. I want you to just close your eyes if you're able to. If you are doing something else and this is kind of in the background or you're just listening, then it's okay. But I want you to focus on taking a breath. Continue to focus on your breath. And you're going to start to feel the shift. You're going to start to feel your body loosening up a little more, opening up a little bit more, relaxing a little bit more. Doesn't matter how long you do this for, even if it's for just that one breath. You're already in a much more opened and balanced space with less resistance. And I want to remind you that this is probably one of the simplest things you can do, but by far the most powerful thing you can do. So just kind of being continuing to be in that space. Hi, Adrian. Welcome, welcome. Just wanted to take a few moments for those that are here, that those that are wanting to be here live, get to come join us, and for those that are listening to the replay, to be more present, be more open, be more relaxed. The conscious breathing exercise that becomes more than an exercise, it just becomes part of what we do, allows us to become more aware of where inside of us we're unconsciously resisting. And I bring this up for me as well. I will probably say everything that I share and everything that comes through me is also for me, right? This is also for me to continuously remind myself. One of the reasons why this question came up is because there are still levels within ourselves that are in that unconscious resistance. And this picture that just came up, I felt it was perfect because just the head popping up, right? Being in our head, and as crazy as this may sound, I almost feel like what I'm about to say is equivalent to, Galileo in, like, I don't know, when he was living in that form in this world, talking about, the crazy theories of, and I don't even remember exactly, the earth revolving around the sun. And if it wasn't him, there, whoever it was that opened up that concept and that theory in those days, it was just sacrilegious. It was so far out there that, again, I'm not an expert on him. He just came up for some reason. These sort of ideas were just condemned. They were just, so out there, so illogical at the time that, people were arrested, people were killed, people were, ostracized, whatever the case may be. This is kind of how I feel when I say some of these things, where it's like when you're thinking with your head only, you are resisting. Hi, Rebecca. Welcome, welcome. Galileo. Okay, so that I did say Galileo, right? He came through, and right now what's coming through is, the theory of the Earth revolving around the sun instead of the opposite. There's a lot of ideas that while we're opening up to them, there is a lot of internal battle going on inside. Okay, how could this be, right? When all of our lives we've been taught to think, right? Think before you do, or think before you act. You didn't think through. Think about what you did. Like every school at some level, and every system at some level has contributed to this belief, right? That we need to think first. And right now, we're in this incredibly amazing and incredibly powerful era where a lot of things are changing. Okay. And we're not talking like little, changes, minor changes. Of course, you probably know that there's so many things changing. And one of the most powerful things that's changing is our belief systems, our perceptions, how we perceive ourselves and the world. Okay. And so I just want to open you up to this. Okay, this isn't something that changes overnight. This is something that we have to continuously open ourselves up to, so that inside of us starts to shift. Inside of us, our bodies start to no longer hold those belief systems. And we start to break free. We start to let ourselves out of our own internal mental cages. I talked a little bit about this last week. Talked a little bit about, freedom. And I shared how this isn't something physical. This isn't about where you live, where you are, what you do, who you're with, etc. This is about becoming, or starting to realize that the cages, the jail cells we've been in, are inside of our heads. This is a mental cage. This is a mental cell, jail cell that we've been in. And the most craziest thing is, or the crazy thing is also that we haven't been aware at all whatsoever, right? And I was there many moons ago, and you're still there, even when you dive into the personal development field, even after you awaken. Like, there's so many internal jail cells inside of us that we have to continuously open up to this. We have to continuously open up to feeling and seeing these cages, seeing and feeling the resistance, recognizing that the resistance, or you're in resistance when you are stuck in your head, right? And if you see like all of these little kind of squiggly lines and arrows, there's a lot of confusion right now. There's a lot of chaos. There's just so much happening now that is, it's essentially building tension. It's building the tension that actually creates more resistance. Okay. Now I want to gift you with a key so that you can start unlocking yourself. And I actually said it earlier. And it's simple. The moment that you start to open up to feeling, becoming a little more aware that you are in resistance mode, that you are trying too hard, that you are in an internal fight inside of you with yourself. The moment that you start to open up to this possibility is the moment that you start turning the key. Literally, as you take a nice conscious breath and you just kind of open yourself up to admit this, you start to relax. Part of the programming is holding ourselves back from admitting something that we think is bad or wrong. So we will take a while. It takes a while because it took me a while, and even though time is relative and it is irrelevant, but it does take time to open up to saying, even openly thinking about this without the judgment. And just being honest with what's actually going on. I am doing this, resisting. Part of me doesn't want this. Part of me doesn't believe this, right? Part of me doesn't think I'm worthy, right? All of these different things that we're a bit resistant in admitting. Again, because for whatever reason, there's a lot of reasons, but every single one of us at some level think we accepted this belief that this is bad, this is wrong, I shouldn't think that, I shouldn't believe that, or we even, when we're so unconsciously resisting, we're actually quite adamant about, no, I don't think that. No, I don't believe it. No, I don't feel that. No, I'm not, doing that. And just open up to this because we've all done it. Yours truly including. Or included. I have a lot of when I'm in a conversation with them and this comes through, where they're actually quite adamant about, no, I'm not doing this, or I'm not thinking this, or I don't believe that. That automatically clues me, and I want to kind of also give you this key so you can start observing yourself and you can start observing others as well. Automatically, that is the unconscious resistance, where we're so We're so anchored in this just one side, one belief, one perception. Excuse me. When you're in a seesaw, right? You're, unless someone supports you, unless someone's like in the middle, you're either on the ground or you're up in the air. Okay, this has been us. We've been on the opposite end, or one end, or the opposite. We haven't truly been, we haven't been taught, or we've been asleep in a lot of ways. We haven't been in this middle ground, middle stance, more stable space to be open to both sides, right? It's like either this, it's my way or the highway kind of thing. Like it's either or. We've been in this either or energy for a really long time. That energy creates resistance, anchors more resistance, and you'll continue to be there until you choose not to be. Okay. The beautiful thing that's happening right now for every single one of us is that the body is no longer following those old beliefs. And so I've said this before, excuse me. A lot of things are coming up that even in this like clearing my throat, there's a lot of clearing going on. Clearing the old beliefs. There's so many things that contradict and go beyond what we've been taught. And not just what we've been taught, it's what we've accepted. Okay? Because it's not about what you've been taught, right? I've been taught tons and tons of things. You start to gain more responsibility when you start owning that you've accepted what you've been taught. And it's been like that for all of us, right? Like we've all accepted so many different things that we had no clue about, we had no consciousness about. Like we just followed everyone else, right? We followed our parents. This is just how it is right now, right? It's like blind leading the blind. The moment that you start taking this sort of responsibility to have accepted this, okay, feeling the heaviness, feeling the resistance, feeling how it closes you up, and feeling all of these different things allows you to choose something different and no longer accept. You start to become more aware of what you accept and what you don't accept. Okay. I could be, thrown all of these different things, all of these different ideas, all of these different beliefs. Okay. But it doesn't mean that you're just going to grab onto them. The key is to start learning how to feel right? Learning what that energy is and what it supports so that you can become more open and more conscious about accepting only the things that break you free, only the things that expand you, only the things that open your heart and open your mind, the things that bring you back into your peace, the things that bring you back into your light, your peace, your power, your love. We start to really feel the difference between what we accept and what we don't accept. Okay. And as we grow confidence, as we grow in light, as we grow consciously, we start to, this process starts becoming a little bit easier where it's like, I'm completely and totally okay not accepting whatever my, whoever, partner, parent, best friend, whatever they accept. And the beautiful thing is that I accept them for who they are. I accept them as light. It doesn't matter what they believe. It doesn't matter what they do, actually, because I know who they are at a soul level. When you start to remember more of who you are, right? As a soul, as a light being, as source consciousness, then you actually start to see everyone else as that too. And that is the glue that connects us. So allowing yourself to be in this space, yes, this middle ground, be within your breath, so that you can start to ask, not just am I, but where. So I'm going to add that where. Where am I unconsciously resisting? And I just want you to feel this actually right now. Just bring you back into the body, bringing you into the breath. And just allow yourself to feel. as you feel this while connecting to your breath, every inhale that you take is you bringing more light inside of your body. This light is what starts to clear and what starts to dissolve and what starts to break that heaviness. When we talk about the how, right? Once I start to feel, once I start to become more aware of where I am, resisting, where, I'm sorry, what, how, right? How. And again, this is again, the moment that you start to disconnect from your body, from your breathing, you automatically go into your head. And again, all of these arrows that you see, like going all different directions, it creates more confusion. You are literally confusing yourself and resisting the simplicity of the process. Okay. Now, again, this comes back to like, again, the programming of, yeah, things have to be hard. You have to work hard. If you don't work hard, or if you don't push hard, then it's not worth it, or the reward isn't that big. All of these different things come into play. And I want to bring you back into simple, the simplicity. One of the things that I've noticed, excuse me, even within my reality and people around me, is that we're starting to open up to how much we've complicated things. We've all done it. We've all complicated our lives. We've all complicated, our existences. We've all complicated this game. We've all been accepting that that's the way it is. That's the only way. That's the way it is. It can't not be any other way. Things can't be easy. Things can't be simple. Things have to be hard. I have to suffer. I have to, whatever the case may be. And I want you to feel that, because that energy isn't soft. That energy is hard. That energy is tight. Okay. The moment you feel the tightness, the moment you feel the constraint, it's actually your body trying to communicate to you that you're in resistance. Okay. A lot of us are starting to feel a lot in our bodies. We're starting to feel the knots. We're starting to feel the tension, the stress, the heaviness. This is our bodies screaming at us, telling us. There's a lot of resistance here. You're in resistance mode and you don't even know it. Okay, resistance mode is survival mode. Okay, survival mode is our fight or flight response. Fight or flight response is your protection mechanism response. And so just feel that. Just feel into that, because it's almost like we haven't really been able to put the two and two together, right? And that's one of the things that I do, connecting the dots, putting the puzzle pieces together so that you can start to become more aware that all of this is resistance. When you're thinking from here and only from here, when you're trying to figure it out, when you're trying to analyze, you are resisting. Part of you, what's the aspect of you that's being activated in that moment is actually the part of you that does not want what you think you say you want, if that makes sense. This is the opposing forces. This is a battle inside, the battle within, where you think you want this, you say you want this, but deep, 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 deep inside of you, you have the opposite, an opposite version of you that wants the opposite. So it's fighting and it does not want you to actually receive that. It creates all this confusion. It creates all of these illusory perceptions so that you get stuck in thinking instead of coming back into your heart, coming back into your body, and opening yourself up to actually receiving that which you want, say you want or need. One of the things that's been coming through for me lately when we talk about resistance, and again, this is simple. I want to bring you back into simple. The moment that you start to come into your linear headspace and think, without being in the body, the thing is that you can be in your higher mind and in your body. Okay. When you're only in your head, when you're only in this part of you that disconnects you from your body, then you're no longer as in touch with your body, and you're not in touch with your emotions, and you're not feeling or not sensing things. Okay. The moment that you realize and you're aware of it and that you accept, you know what? Yeah, I'm thinking again. I'm resisting. I'm making things hard for myself. I'm just confusing myself. One of the easy, simple things that I've been doing is I take myself and I do. So there's a lot of throat stuff going on, by the way. Like if you've also been going through a lot of throat, a lot of mouth, a lot of neck stuff. This is a big one. It's always going to be a big one. And we just flow with it. We open ourselves up to all that tightness. But anyway, sorry about the content clearing, throat clearing. I take myself into a space or I start doing something that is completely different than what I'm thinking about, right? So if I'm thinking about, I'm just gonna play with, if I'm thinking about, oh my God, food, what am I gonna eat? What am I gonna have, the the menu for the day. If so, here's another tool. Here's another key. If you notice yourself in your head about XYZ for, I'm gonna say for like more than a minute, then it's necessary for you to stop thinking about that. One of the things that I do is I do something completely different. Something that has nothing to do with what I'm thinking, something that has nothing to do with what I'm trying to figure out, something that has absolutely, like, completely way on the other end of the thing that I'm, trying to do. Which, by the way, trying is a big resistance energy. Anytime someone says trying, I'm trying, I automatically, that's like an automatic response, an automatic resistance response, by the way. Remember what Yoda said. There is no try. Try keeps you in this resistance. Trying is what keeps you blocked from taking those steps. The more that you become more present, the more you become more aware of your breathing, the more you're in that space of do or do not, right? You're either doing or you're not doing. If you're in this trying, you're in the battle. You're in a battlefield. You're in battle mode. You're literally in this space where part of you is pulling you to one direction and the other part of you is pulling you to the other direction. You're not in this peace and balance inside of you, which is where you need to be, right? So allowing yourself to use these words as clues, okay? So you can open yourself up to feeling more things. Just allowing yourself to feel. Anyway, going back into, I take myself and I do something completely different because I do not want to exhaust myself by continuing to stay in my head. Thinking, resisting, battling is exhausting. And you're going to start to feel that a little bit more. The moment that you start to feel how exhausting it is the moment that you are more conscious about stepping back and stepping away from that energy. So go play. Go do something that you actually enjoy. Go do something fun. Go out in nature. Go out and do something completely different that has nothing to do with what it is that you're trying to do or receive answers for. Okay? This allows your body to open up. This allows your body, your mind, all of your bodies to be much more open and be much more in a flow. The thing is that the answers have to be received and processed by your body first instead of by your mind. Okay, we're so caught up in I have to know, I have to figure this out here. The answer has to come into my head first. And because it doesn't work that way, that's mainly why we get so frustrated and we get so annoyed or we get so upset or we get angry, because we're expecting, it's almost like, I don't know, we expect, you know, it's like when you're baking a cake, right? You have all the ingredients and that's great. And even after you mix all the ingredients, you have a cake, but it's not done yet. And you sit there and you're like, oh my God, but my cake doesn't look like this finished cake. What's going on? What's wrong? What am I doing wrong? It has to go in the oven, right? Talking about just a classical cake. It has to go in the oven. The oven will do the rest of the work. And what do you do when the cake is in the oven? You wait. There is absolutely nothing more for you to do. You just wait. And magic happens. And transformation occurs. Oh my God, the chemical reactions occur without you being in there in the process with it. You let go. You open up and you release it. That's what happens when you go out and you play. That's what happens when you go out and you do something completely different, something that's fun, something that makes you happy, something that opens up your heart. That is you putting the mix, the cake mix, everything after you mix it all in the oven. And you just let the oven take over. Okay, you let your light take over. You let your body take over, because the body has to then cook. I'm not cook. The body has to then process the information, has to clear, has to release, has to work through a lot of chemical reactions before it actually reaches your perception. Okay. We do not give ourselves the opportunity to do this. And this is such a huge, huge, huge process, and a huge part of the process to really open up to. Okay. Everything is a process. Okay. Some processes take longer than others, but in the end, everything is a process. Okay. The moment of conception, the baby doesn't pop out. Okay. There is a month process, right? 9 months, normally 9-month process for the baby to be fully formed and fully ready to come out. This is how a lot of things work. Okay, again, time is relative to different things, different. Time is relative depending on what it is, depending on what you're working through, depending also with all the stuff that needs to be worked out inside of you as well. Okay, so don't compare yourself to anyone else, because every single person is a world within itself. Every single person has its own set of beliefs, its own set of, perceptions. It has its own stuff. everyone will process things differently, right? Just because it takes longer for you, or maybe it takes longer for this person, doesn't mean anything. It just is, right? And so allowing yourself to open up to that, allowing yourself to know where you are. Okay. Now it's time to put the cake mix in the oven. Okay. Now it's time for me to disconnect, detach myself from thinking all of these things. And I need to go out and play. I need to go do something different. I need to literally just distract yourself so that you do not complicate things and you don't disturb or interfere with the process. That's what resistance does. It interferes with your process. And it takes longer for you to receive, right? Whatever it is that you are wanting to. So, I want to open up a little bit for anybody that is still here. If you have anything you'd like to share, anything you want to ask, even if it's just something about where you are in this process or what you've been experiencing or noticing, you're more than welcome to. I felt just guided to open up this space right now as a gift for free. I do want to, the vision was to build a little library, or just, these 1 to 2 hour classes. But those will be inside of my Patreon. So for those that would like to receive the either recorded classes or join us live, these will be inside of my Patreon membership. I will probably come live here and there to also share things with you. But that is going to be kind of how I move forward. And so thank you in advance for your support and everything that you're doing. Everything that you do right now is huge. It's paramount. Everything that you open up, every work that you do for you, every new realization, anything that you start to open up to. And this is especially this is always going to be about you. The perceptions and the beliefs you have inside of you about yourself. Always, 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 forever. Okay. Everything is shifting and everything is turning upside down. But it's because it's reversing the programming, and it's reversing our focus, right? Our whole focus has been on outside, out there, others, others, the outside world, the external, all of these different things. What's happening right now is that we're bridging the gap. We're starting to feel and remember that there is no separation whatsoever, and there is no difference at all. What you see, what you experience, what you perceive is coming from inside. So now we're shifting our lens so that we can become more aware of ourselves, what's going on, how we feel, what we're thinking, and the ins and outs of everything. that we still hold, right? So when we talk about resisting the resistance, okay, we're going to continue to see aspects of our internal resistance, and especially our unconscious resistance, in our external world, in our external reality. I want you to stay wide open to that. I invite you to stay wide open to that, because those are really big clues that are meant to guide you and that are meant to point out, that are meant to point you back inside of you so that you can continuously connect to your body and the resistance you have inside of you. Okay. So we're gonna start to see a lot of this, by the way. It's just kind of how things work sometimes. It just depends on, well, and it will, let me just say this. No matter what you see in TV, in the news, in media, and even in your like personal environment or personal community, personal, your neighborhood, it doesn't mean it's the only thing that's happening. It doesn't mean the whole world is like that. Okay. Everything that you start to see in your external and in the world, through media outlets and all these different things, it's showing you a fraction. And it might be a big fraction of what's inside of you. Again, this will always be about your internal space, your body, right? Your emotional, emotions, emotional body, your thoughts, your beliefs, everything. Okay. Part of why we're seeing the things we're seeing, the big shifts, the big changes, the big upheavals, the chaos, the battles, all these different things, is because they're serving as wake-up calls. We're in like this massive wake-up call. And I know that I've said this before. There's shake-up calls. There are going to be some big shake-up calls where it's like, when you're trying to wake someone up because they have to go to school or whatever the case may be, and they're just not waking up. You have to then shake them awake. You throw the bucket of ice water or whatever the case may be. You take away the sheets or whatever. This is what's happening for a lot of people. Okay, it's no longer the alarm on the phone is no longer going to work, because we've been pushing that snooze button for a really long time. Okay, it's not working. Okay, when the snooze button no longer works, your God, higher self, universe is like, well, we're gonna have to change our methods, right? We're gonna have to do a shake-up call. Okay, this is because houses collapsing, okay, systems are collapsing, houses burning, um houses just leveling. It's the it's everything. It's being destroyed. It's collapsing on us. It's dismantling. All of these things are happening. We have to get out. Okay, so part of the shakeup calls is because your God universe is saying it's not safe for you to be in this house anymore. You have to get out. That's literally what's happening. Okay, we're being shaken awake at whatever level because we need to leave. We need to find safer ground. Some of us, those souls that are transitioning, that are no longer in the body, it's a little bit different for them. But a lot of us that are still here, we have to leave. We have to leave our house, the burning house, the collapsing house, so that everything can fall and we can rebuild again, right? Adrian, the head pressure is uncomfortable and feels harder to clear than other areas because I can't stretch my head. Just meditation and breathing helps. I can feel cords and tensor areas. Good. Kind of cool, actually, just uncomfortable. That actually does tend, that actually is how we go through a lot of these things. It's like it's uncomfortable. It could be painful. It could be very like, whoa, but it's really cool. Especially once you start to open up to, there's more going on. Okay, my linear head may only perceive the pain, right? And it might be scared shitless, but there's more going on, right? And we start to open up more and more and more to just trusting, right? Just surrendering, just allowing things to flow. The head pressure is so huge for a lot of us. We will go through, everyone will go through it in different ways and in different phases. All right. You actually, another close person is going through a lot of head pressure. Okay, so when you say it feels harder to clear than other areas because I can't stretch my head. The energy that's coming through, I just want to open you up to this, is you as the ego you is trying to do this. It's trying to clear, or it's trying to stretch your head. So just feel into a little bit of the resistance. Just feel a little bit into, oh, I'm making it harder for myself. There's a part of you that doesn't want to stretch. There's a part of you that doesn't want to leave this space. For all of us, it's like that, by the way, because this has been our comfort zone. This has been our safety net. This has been our protection. Okay. Thinking, right? The thinking, the linear headspace has literally been our safe space. Feeling has felt like the most threatening, the most dangerous space. So we have kept ourselves here for a really, 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 really long time. And the ego will still be there. I mean, the ego is still there. We will always have that level of separation inside of us, which is all why we all have to continuously open up to connecting, feeling, recognizing that there is still that aspect of myself, that version of me that doesn't feel enough, doesn't feel wanted, doesn't feel loved, fights, right? With teeth and nails. And going back to what I was mentioning earlier, the moment that you open up to this, the moment that you start to breathe, is a moment that that aspect of you starts to let go. You could start to release one finger, right? Another finger, and another finger, and another finger, and the whole hand starts to open up, and you start to relax. So for all of us, that's still in that unconscious energy of resistance, right? Thinking, oh, this is too hard, it's hard to keep clear, can't do this, can't figure this out, whatever the case may be. The biggest thing to start opening up to is that aspect that's trying, that aspect of you doesn't need to do that anymore. Right? We're just gonna step back, you open up, you let things flow. It's almost like you're in the boat. You're in this flowing river. So automatically you're feeling like, oh, I'm flowing. I'm surrendered, right? I'm just on this boat. But part of you is like, oh my God, where are we going? Oh my God, it's leaking. Oh my God, we just bumped into this rock. Oh my God. Oh my God. So you see how you were always going to be in those two spaces? You're in the boat. You're letting the boat take you. Okay, so you're in this surrendered space. However, you're still in this resistance space too, while inside, well, still in this surrendered space. You're in both spaces. And it's normal. We will be triggered, right? We will be triggered with like, oh my God, what just hit me? Or what did we just bump? Trying to figure out what's going on, right? Trying to figure out, well, where am I going? Is this the right path? Is this the right direction? Right? All of those different things are happening inside of us. And so, yes, you're in the boat, and yes, you're letting the boat take you. You are in a surrendered space. But we have to continuously open up to, okay, where am I still unconsciously in this fight? Unconsciously wanting to know. I've been there. I'm still there, right? I'm still, things come up depending on whatever comes through. And I go there. The difference and the thing that will occur is that you're much more aware. You're much more aware of, oh, I'm here. I'm resisting this. I'm thinking. I'm not in my full trust. I'm trying to figure things out. I'm trying to plan ahead. I'm trying to make sense of this. I'm trying to be logical. I'm trying to like, I accept it. I admit it. And then it's like, let me just go out and play. Let me just go outside. Let me go cook. Let me do something complete. Let me do something that takes me out of that space. Right? Do something that is completely different. Do something that will kind of force you to not be thinking about this, trying to figure this out, right? Trying to analyze all this. Like, just let yourself let things go, right? Let yourself allow yourself to not complicate things, right? Allow yourself for things to flow. Let things be simple, right? I don't watch news at all. A lot of us are there, right? A lot of us just completely detached from that world. One of the biggest things when that happens is to continually be open to your internal world. Okay. So I'll give you an example. This was a couple years ago. And I had, I had no television, no nothing, did not watch the news at all whatsoever. But my reality would still and will still bring forth things that I need to feel into that are actually happening in the collective. Okay, but this way it's a lot softer. So I was outside my patio, and all of a sudden, I literally had a battle going on. On the ground, there were these like big ants, and they were literally battling each other. They're just going at it, and I'm talking like, this isn't just 2 ants or 4. Like, all of a sudden, I'm like 10 or even more. Like, I don't even remember, but it was like more. And I'm going, holy shit, what's happening? Like, what? I'd never seen that before, ever seen that before. So I'm like just allowing myself to feel. I'm here and I'm like observing and I'm watching, but I also know that I needed to feel things. And I'm just seeing like these ants like literally just going at it. I'm just like, what is going on? It's actually really interesting because I mean, and I've known this has happened quite for some time, but things will come into my world, things will come into my perception years before it happens in certain collectives. So this was actually now more than 2 years ago. And however it happens, right? It just when it comes to like how things occur and how things will transpire, I mean, it's just endless, right? But we're starting to see, and obviously this is happening. There's different battles going on that will occur. Okay. Allowing your God, higher self, universe to continue to bring things into your reality, into your immediate reality, so that you can continually feel deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper levels, so that when it does happen in different parts of the world, in whatever way they happen, you will already have the stability and the emotional stability in order to hold, in order to support those that may be going through it. Now, they may be going through it physically, or they may be going through it, but in their own reality, kind of going into they might be going through, certain battles within like family or whatever, job, professional unit, whatever the case may be. We go through feeling things before they actually happen, so that when that does happen, either to us at some level or to someone very close or very dear, or someone in physical reality, we are much more equipped to support them in the highest way, the way that there's needs to be supported, right? So continue to open up to that. That will, it doesn't matter how things come through, right? Whether you're watching it in the news or not. Sometimes, like, my YouTube just automatically just brings stuff into my awareness. But a lot of it is just through physical world, physical environment, different people that I interact. Whatever way it comes through, it all supports. And the biggest thing is for all of us to continually connect to our emotions, connect to our body, so that we can let all of that stuff out, right? Yes. So the first thought that came into my head was that it's harder because I was a smoker over a decade ago. But even if it is true, at some level it's true, right? This is where we go really super quantum, like super energetic, multidimensional. While it is part of a memory that you have about who you were, what you did, what you experienced, at some level, okay, that is no longer true. That is no longer part of you, right? And so it's a process. Again, it does take linear time, but the body can regenerate every part of us, right? Every cell regenerates within seconds, within minutes, I want to say that 7 years, within that a 7-year span, is when your whole entire body has fully regenerated, every cell. As that continues to occur, we start to, those memories and those versions of ourselves that we once were have absolutely no weight on who we are now, unless you allow it. So this is a great realization that you just had. This is a great, like, oh, I was accepting that because this happened, because I was this, then this is going to be my reality now. And yet it doesn't have to be. One of the biggest things about this whole process is that it doesn't matter what we did, it doesn't matter who we were, it doesn't matter. Nothing really matters at this point. At some level, we get to open ourselves up to no longer allowing anything that occurred in another moment to be in this now, to control any part of us now, right? And so, and the head will always be one of the biggest thing, because again, since we were born, it's all about thinking. It's all about, well, actually not since we were born. I mean, it is, but it's when we're born, we're still kind of fresh and we're still in our sensory, we see so much and we perceive so much. as we start to gain more of this kind of human consciousness, right? We start to speak and stuff like that. The thinking programming starts to kind of become more and more and more anchored. This is kind of how it is right now. Still, even though everything's changing, everything's being blown out of the water. Right now, the grown-ups right now on this planet, we get to do it. Well, we are opening up, right? Having having all of these realizations. We're allowing the changes to occur in our body so that we can start to open ourselves up to living more in this new flow and starting to recognize, right? We're starting to become more aware of what we are still doing. And this will always be a really big thing. The moment that you start to open up to, oh, I see this. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm allowing this memory, this perception, this belief to come in and, mess things up, not necessarily control things. The moment that you start to open up to this is happening is a moment that you start to turn the key. Is a moment that you start to just choose different, right? So anyway, I'm gonna wrap things up here in a little bit. I want to keep these short, right? So for those of you that would like to join us inside Patreon, these will be short. Some of them will be recorded actually, but I want to keep these to like an hour and a half. Once we go into like the group support, group discussion, those can be a little bit longer. But these I want to keep them, kind of sweet and short. So thank you, Adrian, so much for being here, for sharing. As always, everything that you guys share and comment opens up so much. But it's also kind of why I want to, keep them. I'm gonna go with the flow. I'm not gonna say anything right now. I'm just gonna open up. In this now. Thank you for sharing what you did. Thank you for opening up. Thank you for continuing to follow in your journey, in your path. I will keep this open on YouTube. And I'm going to continue to bring a lot more content in English and Spanish. And I'm just I'm not, right now I don't feel the need to open up another YouTube. So I'm gonna just populate this, my channel with both English and Spanish content, just an FYI. I heard recently with these energies that the 7-year healing process can be done in a year now. That seems a bit quick, but maybe possible for some. So when I talked about 7 year, which by the way, yes, absolutely, everything's shifting right now. And this is like scientifically, in science and biology, science world, it's been said that it takes 7 years for a body to regenerate every cell, trillions and trillions of cells. So I want to say that you might be talking about this when you talk about the 7-year healing process. I've never heard of the 7-year healing process, by the way. So part of me is like, that's not, that's not something that I've been aware of, but actually you bring it up, it probably is because collectively we have so much inside of us. The collective beliefs are so many and so deep. the body is shifting so much right now that anything that we once said, oh, it takes this amount of time or takes this amount, or even the 7-year whole body regeneration process, it's all shifting. Absolutely 100%. Now, it's relative. Everything is relative to each person. Okay, so I cannot say, oh yeah, it's gonna be done in 1 year now. Okay. It's dependent on each person's resistance level, right? It's dependent on how much light we hold, how much of our soul has anchored inside of our bodies. It depends on how much fears, how much resistance, how much, self-doubt, how much right, lack of self-belief, lack of self-worth. All of those things slow everything down, which is part of the reason why it took that long. Part of the reason why the body hasn't been living the amount of years that it could live is because of the amount of blocks, right? Blockages, which is all the fear, the resistance, all these different things, right? As the body starts to change, right? As cells start to release all this heaviness and all the blockages and all these different things, which, by the way, this is all a DNA upgrade process. Things change. So even recently, I read, I don't know where it is, the oldest person in the US recently just passed on, transitioned at 115, I believe. And they were saying something else about she was like the fourth oldest person that has ever lived in the US. And I'm like, wow, 115? Yeah, like it's happening. It is literally happening. We, the what is it called? The mortality age rate, age is growing. It's growing. It's growing. It's growing. I see so many people, like all of a sudden, like my Facebook feed was like, people celebrating their 90+ year old parents. And I'm like, wow, this is really happening. The body, when the body is fully supported at a soul level, right? The length it can live is actually beyond what we can accept right now and what we can comprehend. But we're starting to see it. We're starting to see that number getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm going to be very, very bold into saying this. It's going to get even bigger. Again, this is me. My Galileo aspect is like saying things that right now we can't really accept, we can't rationalize. It's way too out there, but it's happening. And we're starting to see it for someone to, more and more people to be 90, for people. And this isn't the only person. I've also like seen other people of like over 100. Still living and still kicking and like still like, it's going to be a new norm. It's going to be part of the new norm. It's going to continue to happen. It's going to continue to occur. This is just the beginning. So, you are not that person anymore. Absolutely. And whoever, for those of you that are watching the replay, this is such a huge, huge, huge message and a huge thing to remember. Whatever it is that you went through, whatever it is that you did or didn't do, at some level, you are no longer that person. You do not need to continue to carry the burdens, the heaviness of the sins, of the whatever misdemeanors, whatever it is that you feel you once did anymore. This is the era of freedom. This is the era, this is the age of freedom. This is the age of light. This is the age of whatever, enlightenment. This is the age of consciousness. This is the age where we break out and we break free, and we renew ourselves in a way that we have not done before while in this body. It's huge and it's massive and it's powerful. And yes, it will require a lot. This is important also. It's going to require a lot. It's going to take a lot of you. It's going to take a lot of different things to open up and to shift and change and just open up to. But more and more people are doing it. Adrian, myself, all of these different people that I have come to classes or my groups. We're all doing it, and we're all doing it together. And so allowing ourselves to continue to walk in this flow, in this new flow within these new energies is huge. And it supports the whole entire globe more than we do. So with that, again, thank you so much. I'll be seeing you guys, when I come and do these free on YouTube. There's a lot of different things that are kind of bubbling. So just letting those sit for a while until I'm ready to pop those out. But this one did feel very strong of just opening up and continually share. So I'll be doing these, I don't know, 2-3 times a week or more or less. Just, I'm going to feel into, the schedule. And just continuing to open up the gates for this new way, new life, new reality, and new world for all of us. So with that, thank you as well. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. They lived a lot longer than we did, for sure. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how that will transpire and how that will evolve. Very, very exciting, but we're already starting to see it. So a lot of the things that I'll just speak from personal experience, like a lot of the things that I'm sharing now, because so many things have changed and so many things have occurred, are starting to make a little bit more sense, and are even though I'll go into Galileo mode, a lot of things are just, they're starting to be seen and they're starting to be perceived, and it's not like this way out there reality anymore. It's real. So yeah, we're definitely going to be we're opening up to living longer, and not just living longer, but living more consciously, living through higher states of consciously, in unity, in love, in a way that's peaceful, and in a way that's pure. Okay. However, again, it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight, and the things that will continue to aspire, so more and more people start waking up. It's going to be everything. It's going to be everything, guys. And so the biggest thing is that we're not alone, but we're starting to become more. The people that are more open, the people that are more willing to leave these systems, leave the burning homes, leave everything old behind, is growing more and more and more, and we continue. So That's a good wrap up right there. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you. Anybody else that was here? And Rebecca was here. Anybody else that came in and out? Thank you for popping in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Again, the replay will be up on YouTube. And the rest of the classes this week will be inside Patreon. So if you would like to join us, we'll see you there. Much love. Bye.